Sports Australia fans, good evening and welcome to Hindmarsh Stadium for the final chapter in a brilliant Sunday of soccer. We're here for this elimination final, second leg between Adelaide City and the Wollongong Wolves. And to all those Wollongong supporters down at Win Television in the heart of Wolves territory, good evening and welcome. You're in for a tough fixture, even though you've got that 3-goal buffer at this stage. Well, let's just recap of those matches that were played earlier today, and there were some fabulous results amongst them. Marconi Fairfield do progress on to the minor semi-final after that single-goal victory over Sydney United. Francis Awaratifi scoring in the 70th minute. Sydney United now out of the competition. And in the other major game, the major semi-final, it was a big result for South Melbourne. They went away from home to Optus Oval, picked up a 2-1 victory, courtesy of goals to Paul Trimboli, John Anastasiadis, and the very, very late reply from John Markowski. And certainly those two teams will be involved again in that major semi-final, second leg next week. Well, joining me here at Hindmarsh Stadium, a guy that's seen a lot of action with the Adelaide City Zebras and a lot of grand finals, Paul Schillerbeer. Great to have you with us. Paul, at this stage, the big question really amongst Wollongong supporters, is it going to be a matter of containment or entertainment this evening?
Robbie, I think in the first 10 minutes we're going to know the answer to that. If Wollongong can get an early goal, I think it's probably going to be a fairly dour game. But if Adelaide City can get that early break, I think we've got a great game on our hands.
Well, Paul, at this stage, the main banner here on the ground says history can repeat itself. That's going to be a tough miracle for the Adelaide City side to pull off.
Well, it just shows it's possible. Last year we were in the same situation, 3 goals down to Marconi, and all of a sudden before we know it, it was 4-3 and Adelaide City won the game. It's going to be a little bit more difficult because Wollongong know about that as well. They're going to be fully aware of what can happen. So I think we're going to see a fairly good game anyway in its own right, but it's just too hard to predict at this stage.
Very hard to predict, but let's just have a look at one result that was played last week, and it was the head-to-head game. It was the elimination final, first leg, Wollongong City 3, Adelaide City 0. There was no score at half-time, but that second half, fantastic performance by the home side in front of a ground record of over 11,000 people. And I can tell you that game has really set up Wollongong, set them up well. Salapasidis, a bit of a question mark about his involvement today. Nick Theodorakopoulos has put him in though.
He has. I think Costa's got something to prove. He really rubbed salt in the wounds of Adelaide City fans last week. But being here at home, I can guarantee he's in for a hard game. I'm pretty sure Alex Tobin will be marking him up tonight, and I can assure you that he's certainly going to know he's been in a game in his hometown again. All
right, one of the changes for Adelaide City was their striker, Michael Brooks, and I spoke to him before the game and asked him about the team's new approach to this main game.
Yeah, 3 changes to the lineup. Hopefully we'll be able to get the necessary 3 goals to keep us in the tie, so that's what we'll be looking for.
Yes, Michael Brooks there, a very important and influential role, and I can tell you that as part of the pre-match entertainment, it's time now just to stand by for the playing of the national anthem.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are young and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is good by sea, a land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Yes, a spirited response there to the national anthem. Exactly what Adelaide City need here tonight. But one of the guys that's opposing them tonight, Wollongong City defender Rob Stanton, and I asked him about his approach also to the assignment here tonight.
Look, we probably won't change anything what we did last week. There's no need to. It's worked well for us all season, and we're not going to change anything. We're aware of what the scoreline is and what can happen, but that's about as far as it goes. We're just going out there to do the same job.
Yeah, a pretty pragmatic approach by Robbie Stanton, and last week in front of him, Sebastian Sinozic did such a great job on Damien Mori.
That's right. Damien had a very quiet game, and he actually went back into midfield to try and get a bit of space. But again, tonight's a different game. Damien's in his home ground, and it's not too often he doesn't score at Hindmarsh. So again, another great matchup in this game tonight.
Yeah, Paul, a very important omen to look forward to tonight. Let's then go to your match commentator for this evening, Greg Blake.
Yes, thank you, Robbie, and an air of expectation about the Hindmarsh Stadium, of course, with Adelaide City with a huge job to do tonight here at home in the city of Churches. 3-0 defeat last weekend. They've got to drag themselves back, and there's the Adelaide City lineup for this second leg of the elimination final, and 3 changes. John Niskahus, 1 enforced. Dino Manillo goes out injured. Big loss, that one. Brad Armour and Chris Trajanovski get dropped to the bench, and 3 new starters, all off the bench from the Wollongong game. Michael Brooks, Travis Dodd, the youngster, and Bradley Hassell, the birthday boy yesterday. Just turned 24, Brad Hassell, and he might want to celebrate with a goal or 2 tonight to help the cause of Adelaide City. And there's Damien Mori. Well, he has had another super season, Damien, but he'll want to score tonight. There's the Wollongong team now, and Wollongong, they're pretty confident. No change to the Wollongong team, which defeated, as we said, Adelaide City last weekend by 3-0. So the Wolves go in without a change, and speaking to Nick Theodorakopoulos, the coach of Wollongong, just before the game, very sombre, very silent, with a job to do. They know they've still got 90 minutes to get through. Despite that 3-0 lead, Eugene Brazzali is the match referee, and we're away to a start to complete this second week of Ericsson Cup finals. And it's the Aristocrats from Adelaide City kicking from right to left on your screen. Early ball from Horsley. Perinich chases it deep. Double team. Costanzo tries to force the issue, and it will be an Adelaide City ball. Scored the opener last weekend, did Tony Perinich. Jason Petkovic with the goal kick from the scoreboard end of the Hindmarsh Stadium. Crisp and clear, the Adelaide air tonight. It's a good night for footy. Wollongong lose the ball. Mori shrugs off the challenge from Sinozic. Might be too long for Gibson. It's not. He drags it in. Gibbo, cross. Here's a chance for Adelaide early on. Murray on his right foot. Oh no, off the crossbar. Well, you talk about pivotal moments in a football game. And 60 seconds in, Damien Mori won't get a better chance than that. Oh my gosh, it is a game of centimetres. Paul Schillebert rejoins us after the long trek up to the broadcast area, and if your heart wasn't pounding before, Paul, it's got to be now.
Well, it's almost a great start to the game, as we said in the beginning of downstairs, that if Adelaide City can score that early goal, we've got a cracker on our hands.
Well, you recall, and everybody's been talking about it in Adelaide today, that huge comeback last year from 3-0 down in the first leg against Marconi, 4-3 in the end, defeating Marconi to reverse that tie. Having said that, they didn't get off to a lightning start in that fixture last year. It was only 1-0 at half-time. And I think the essence here at Joe Mullen, the assistant coach of Adelaide City, saying just before the game, Paul, that the critical thing is holding Wollongong to naught.
That's the important thing, Greg. If we can get a good start and hold their goals out, you break that 3-0 down into 2 halves. It's only 1 goal in the first half, and you can then spend the rest of the game looking for the other 2.
However, if Wollongong can strike early, might be game, set and match. Ceccoli will get the throw in. That far side. Good crowd in at the Hindmarsh, and Adelaide administration were making quite a point of saying that they hope that the Adelaide City supporters are vocal tonight, just as the Wollongong fans were. They were terrific last weekend up at Brandon Park. Adelaide City, Costanzo. Inside. Hassell, Costanzo return ball goes around the corner, deep almost for Mori. Well, they're certainly making a statement early. Adelaide City, Gibson, Costanzo. Drags it outside the defender. Costanzo right across the face of goal. All of a sudden, starting having mental flashes of Australia against Iran at the MCG. The cross comes in again. And good take from Brett Hughes, the veteran for Wollongong.
Greg, it's good to see that Adelaide City's actually trying to get around the flanks. I mean, that's the way they're going to get past Wollongong, and they've also got to control Wollongong for them getting around the flanks, because that's where most of the goals have come gone. Remember the last game, I think we had 5 goals in the first 20 minutes in this game.
Well, there have been plenty of goals shared between these two clubs this year. 2-1 was the result up at Wollongong in the first home and away game, and all those goals came in the first 23 minutes. It was 4-2 here in the return fixture, and then of course Wollongong with a slashing 3-0 win last weekend up there at Brandon Park. Throw in to the Zebras. Mark Yates overtake it. As the youngster you saw on screen, Travis Dodd, only his second start ever in the Ericsson Cup. I reckon that's just about a free kick. Goes to Salapasidis.
There's not going to be much love lost between those two after last week as well.
Well, it was fiery last weekend. Certainly with Costa against his old club. Salapasidis, in fact, is the second most experienced finals player for Wollongong behind Robbie Stanton, and all those finals, apart from last weekend, were with Adelaide City, of course. This is the 9th Ericsson Cup final. Costa Salapasidis, Wollongong, looking a little uncertain. Damien Mori's got an open lane. No, he hasn't. The pass was too long. The ball was too long. Ran back from Surjan to Hughes. Again out of play. It's almost magnetised out there. The ball's been drawn out to that halfway line on the other side a couple of times. The Wollongong Wolves, the last 2 times they've been to the playoffs, in 92 and 93, the road ended here, ironically enough, against Adelaide City. And if history is about to repeat, Thomas loses it, tries to draw a free kick. Eugene Brazzali sensibly waves it away. And Wollongong manoeuvre the ball. Costanzo with the steal. Gibson on halfway. Not much opening up for him yet. Gibson's going to back himself for pace against Anthony Surjan. Surjan stays with him. Gibson goes deep. Long cross, far post, just too long again. Well, they're enterprising enough early on. And Michael Brooks.
Again, see Gibson putting the ball across, and it's just eluded everybody with Brooks on the back post not being able to turn it back in. But Greg, again, this left-hand side is already showing some promise for Adelaide City, and I would suggest that Wollongong will be looking at closing it up fairly soon, or they might find that first goals in the back of the net fairly soon.
There's Brooksy on screen. Michael Brooks. John Nisker has an interesting comment from him during the week. He said Brooksy will be back in the team because he is a Hindmarsh Stadium player. He thinks he plays better here than anywhere else, Paul.
Well, I guess if you look at the goals he scored, it may well show that. But I was surprised that Michael wasn't playing last week, because Damien and him have got a good understanding, and they have for most of this season. Michael seems to have missed out on a lot of occasions where hopefully today they'll be able to put it together again in this important game.
Well, the road leads now to the match-up with Marconi in the minor semi-final next weekend for the victor here. And time is against Adelaide City. Wollongong, they can keep it at 0-0. They're on their way. Anthony Surjan, driving run. Adelaide clear. Cut out by Dimoski. Chipperfield goes round the corner for Ceccoli. Well done, Alvin. Deep cross. Tobin, he didn't know where that was going, but he's got it away successfully. Gibbo. Adelaide City. Gibson looks up, tries to drop it into the path of Mori. The idea was right, the delivery was wrong. Through the middle, Surjan for the skipper, Matty Horsley. Horsley shapes to shoot. And that drew a reaction anyway from the gallery of Adelaide City fans.
You see Horsley had a shot across the goal, but really a bit off target there. Maybe he was looking for some players coming in there, but none available on that one.
Well, Matt Horsley, the only survivor from the team which lost here to Adelaide City back in 1992 in an elimination final.
From memory, Greg, that was played at Adelaide Oval.
Adelaide Oval.
Hindmarsh Stadium was unavailable.
You were in the team, Paul?
Yeah, I was actually. It was fond memories.
It's been a transitional phase for Adelaide City, because the reality is only Tobin Ivanovic and probably Damien Mori would be the only survivors from the Adelaide team of that era as well.
Michael Brooks was also playing during that time as a substitute most of the games, but he's come of age and, as you said before, has made a pretty strong name for himself.
Gibson for Costanzo. The penalty area, difficult one. Brooks just a tad too long for Travis Dodd, who's in for, as we said, just his second start for Travis Dodd. 18 years of age. Gee, wouldn't he be feeling some nerves tonight?
I was actually walking in with him before the game and he was very, very nervous, but sort of he knew what he had to do and was going to try and concentrate on the game, but certainly a lot of nerves before a game for a young person like that.
Well, Wollongong have not beaten Adelaide City here since round 3, 1988. It's been a long time between drinks for the Wolves, some 12 meetings here, including a couple of finals, as I said earlier. So it's not a happy hunting ground. Ivanovic stretches out as much as he probably can these days at 37. Taps it inside. Brooksy can't reach it. It's away by Robbie Stanton. Tobin. Centres it for Brad Hassell. Good body work from Brad Hassell. Swooped on by Stanton. They've got some numbers too. Looked for Perinich. Costanzo was back there. Tobin again. Well, Wollongong have not really given a yelp in the first 10, but I suppose they don't have to. It's Adelaide City that have to force the pace here at home. It was a shootout last time these two teams met, and it's developing as more of the same. Mori. For Gibson. Oh, that's a great stretch to clear it by Horsley. Captain's effort, brilliant. Perinich on the run. Salapasidis was moving for him. The man deep left is Surjan. Chases it down. Dodd stays with him. Surjan tried to go coast to coast, but it's not going to come off. Adelaide ball. That was fantastic from Matty Horsley.
Typical effort from Matty. He's always putting that in game, and I'm sure in the 90th minute he will still be putting that kind of effort in. As I said, Matt's been with the Wollongong team for a long time, and I think he really wants to get onto the next stage and sort of make his way to that grand final stage.
Well, Matt Horsley, he's a career Wollongong man. Damien Mori. On the move, Damien Mori shrugs off a tackler. Mori left foot, couldn't get it cleanly. He wants this very, very badly, Damien Mori. He's having a talk to Eugene Brazzali as well. Let's see if there was an infringement.
Yeah, Damien's strength is just coming from that midfield area, but he's having to go so deep to pick up the ball, he probably hasn't got the energy left to have a shot when he gets into the box.
Wollongong break it at the other end. Perinich comes up against the stop sign. He'll get a free kick, according to Eugene Brazzali. But the Adelaide supporters are vocal. Give them that much. Quickly taken. Horsley again, tries it long. The leap was from Salapasidis. Petkovic, and he wouldn't want to take too many chances like that.
Well, Greg, that's the danger for Adelaide City on this right-hand flank. That's where the goals came from last week. And Adelaide City's really got to close them down to stop those balls coming into the box. And I guess Wollongong will be looking to open them up as well. So I think there's some great opportunities here for both teams down the flank side, so we should be in for a fairly fast game.
And another free kick to the Wolves. The 33rd all-time meeting between the two clubs. Alvin. Ceccoli. It's away for Adelaide City. Waits and waits, then guns it long and high. Damien Mori outnumbered, outmaneuvered. He's going to get the free kick though, to the chagrin of Dimoski. There's Damien. Well, no, he's got a bit to prove. Let's have a look at the free kick.
Yeah, you can see Damien's just pushed the player in front of him, just a slight bit, but the linesman's seen him where the referee didn't, I think.
Perinich. Damien with a bit to prove. I mean, he's had a couple of stellar seasons, but he's not scored in his last 7 finals outings. So he too will have to turn the tide. Oh, almost a big giveaway by Ivanovic. He did well to make something out of that in the end. covered. Salapasidis would not give him any respite. Stanton. And again, Robbie Stanton. Costanzo. Really, Wollongong do not, as we said, they don't have to force the issue at all. Adelaide City have got to make the running, which they have been doing early. Ivanovic for Gibson. Gibson against Stanton. It'll come off Robbie Stanton's thigh, and a corner to the Zebras.
It's the first corner of the game. So we've seen Gibson putting the ball in as he's setting up, and most of the Adelaide City defence is coming up for this corner.
Gibson with the corner, difficult one. Hughes goes back, no. Well, John Niskerhurst, earlier in the week, he did promise as an attacking display as you could possibly ask for. Let's have a look at the replay of that corner.
Yeah, that's really just a waste. I mean, Adelaide City can't afford to waste balls in those positions at the moment. So, as we can see, the ball's coming back on the halfway line.
Perinich. Double team, squeezes it through the middle. I'm not sure he meant that. Horsley on the run. Perinich, right. Salapasidis was inside. In the end, Tobin forced it away. Damien Mori. Turns the circle of Mori. Assertive stuff. And then Sinozic. Well, the free kick will go against him.
This is going to be a great battle as it was last week. Surjan just managed to get the ball away and then unfortunately stripped over his leg. So there probably wasn't a free kick there.
Well, Sinozic, he's only 19. He did a terrific job last week and he's only come into the side late in the season. Here's a chance for Wollongong. Perinich drills it. Good stop from Petkovic. Costanzo there with the assist, and away come Adelaide City. Almost forced into the path of Perinich again. Salapasidis with the leap. Every time Wollongong move into their front third, it is red alert time for Adelaide City. This is Adelaide City's 9th consecutive finals appearance, which is a league record. Gee, that was a good ball. Lofted by Hassell for Damien Mori against Sinozic. Kid does well to force Mori away from the danger zone. Well done, Sinozic. Damien Mori. He knew he'd been in a game last weekend.
Yeah, we're just trying to see the ball shielded there, and Damien's putting a bit of pressure on without giving a free kick away, which is so important in that area. And he just runs the ball out of play. So again, it's another good position for Adelaide City with a long throw-in going to come in from Costanzo. In fact, he's given a corner.
Angelo Costanzo played all but one game this year. There's a corner back header in! It's a goal! I'm not sure who's going to claim it, but Brett Hughes, look at the face of Brett Hughes. And Adelaide City, who needed the early goal, 16:45 on my watch, and Brooksy looks as if he wants it. Yeah! Mickey Brooks said, get behind us. Look at this.
You can see the corner coming into the near post. It's going to be hard. I think Brooksy gets a touch there, and it's just, I think that's almost an own goal come off of number 19, Sinovic. Looking at that first replay, we may see better on this replay.
Well, Brett Hughes got his fingertips to it, forcing it.
Yeah, well, I'd almost have to give that as an own goal to either Brett Hughes or Sinovic. But that's it. Doesn't matter who scored it. That's what Adelaide City names, and that means we're going to have a great game here now.
Well, I'm just wondering too, Mark Yates might have got a foot to that as well. Yates scored against the Wolves in the last game here at the Hindmarsh. Well, now we have got a ball game. Adelaide City 1, Wollongong 0. 3-1 Wollongong on aggregate. Ivanovic. Long, well, I just wonder if they can produce sort of comeback they did last year, which would be almost a shame because Wollongong have played an irrepressible style of football this year. It would not seem like a final series if Adelaide bowed out so early, and yet...
Well, the pressure switched a little bit now, Greg. I mean, the Wollongong Wolves are going to have that slight edge of doubt in their mind, and just see if Adelaide City can capitalise on that brief moment from there. And unfortunately, that ball was wasted as it came in too long.
Horsley, pulls himself away from the danger and gets dumped for his efforts. 6 players on a yellow card from last weekend.
It's a pretty soft free kick, really. It was he wasn't going anywhere, and Bradley really had no need to do it from there.
It's 1-0 Adelaide City, and we can't really confirm the goal scorer. Oh, that's a great move, Dimoski. Well, didn't he do well from not very much opportunity at all, Dimoski.
He's just sidestepped Millen as he's come through the ball here and put his head down. He knew what he was going to do as soon as he saw those goals, but just slewed off the side of the foot and didn't really trouble Jason in goals at all.
So we're heading toward 20 minutes rapidly. Travis Dodd. Surge of adrenaline through the Adelaide team. Dodd goes against Ceccoli, and Eugene Brazali's called it against Alvin. So yet another chance to Adelaide City. Alvin Ceccoli won't be happy about that.
I thought Travis actually pushed that ahead of him, and defenders really got him in and held him off, but the referee's seen it differently to us up here, and yeah, it's another great opportunity for Adelaide City here.
So I think that's a tough call against Ceccoli. There's the free kick. Yates was the leaper, but was called against Adelaide City. I think they had a player offside then. Well, the last time they did play here, Mark Yates did score, as did Dino Manillo. Damien Mori got 2. Scotty Chipperfield got 2 for Wollongong in that game. There's the scoreline. Adelaide City 1, Wollongong 0. On this glorious Adelaide evening. And you know it's the playoffs. The stakes are huge. And the game has been so far electrifying. Hassell. He got a nice bend on that one, but Brett Hughes knew all about it early.
I think Greg Wollongong have just got to settle down here and try and stop the flow of the game a little bit, because Adelaide City are really getting on top of it at the moment. And of course, the other danger is that Adelaide City don't get overawed with this, because as we know, if Wollongong score 1 goal, this game is just about all over.
Because away goals counting for double in case of a tie. Horsley, a belter. And Matt Horsley has certainly indicated he's on about tonight. The key with Wollongong City is not only have they played a terrific brand of football, it's also got to be mentioned too that there's been very few occasions when they haven't come back in any given game. And I recall just a couple, including the one here against Adelaide City, down at South Melbourne when they were 3-0 down, they came back to 3-2. So this has really got to be Adelaide City. They've got to play it this way for the entire 90 minutes. That's wasted by Brooks. Ceccoli lets it roll. It's Michael Brooks. Brett Hughes, his 180th Ericsson Cup game tonight, his 5th final.
I think we've got to see Wollongong just settle down a little bit more. They really just don't seem to be on edge a little bit. They're getting the ball to the edge of the area and just shooting on goal, where if they take their time a little bit and try and work the ball around a little bit more, they may start to put a bit more pressure on Adelaide City.
Mori and Sinozic again. Damien looks super keen. Gibson takes Chipperfield and draws a free kick. Scotty Chipperfield, top scorer for Wollongong this year. Came of age, 22-year-old. Hassell. Travis Dodd runs at the defender. Oh, well played, Alvin Ceccoli. Just got to settle down a little bit, Wollongong. As you said, Salapasidis comes against the stop sign, coughs up the ball. Ivanovic, too long. Sinozic gets the call from his goalkeeper. And Hughes strokes it along the carpet to Matt Horsley. Dimoski. Salapasidis had to stretch for it. Scott Thomas does well off the outside of his boot under pressure. Costanzo. And they're calling it a Wollongong ball. Horsley, Perinich Goes down quickly. Horsley. Matt Horsley, wonderful. Matt Horsley to the line, Matty Horsley, and he'll get the corner.
That's where the danger of Wollongong is, with Matt Horsley being able to force his way past Andrew Costanzo there. And he's very lucky he didn't get a free kick here, but he managed to keep going, which is generally Matty because he doesn't like to fall over for no reason. And just Ivanovic came across and blocked that ball out. Otherwise, it could have been very much big danger for Adelaide City.
So Dimoski with the corner, drags it back. By Yates. Dimoski. And another corner. Well, this is better from Wollongong. Adelaide City backpedaling just a little bit for the first time in the game. We are nearly 25 minutes old in the first half. It's Adelaide City 1. Wollongong no score. Wollongong 3-1 on aggregate at this point in this elimination final. Sydney United bit the dust earlier today in the other elimination game. So Marconi will sit back and make their battle plans for one of these two clubs. The brash newcomer to the finals picture. A little experienced Adelaide City team, Travis Dodd. Sinozic forces it away. Well, they've started out at a fair old clip, Adelaide City. The other question is, can they maintain this sort of momentum for the entire game as Yates takes the free kick, tosses it very long. Mori back header. Hassell under pressure, back foot. Ivanovic, and that would have been goal of the season. Instead, Brett Hughes produces one of the best stops of the season to fingertip it round the corner.
Yeah, really, you can see that Bradley Hassell just holding up the ball and played it back to Millen with his left foot, and that's a cracking shot, which Brett Hughes must have seen that coming in late and managed to put off a one-handed save. Millen doesn't score many goals, but that would have been an absolutely fantastic. Well, you've got to look and thank Brett Hughes for keeping Wollongong in this game at the moment.
Millen's only scored 2 career, none this season, but wouldn't that have been an absolute beauty?
We've got another corner for Adelaide City.
Well, you just wonder. Wollongong are starting, he's mentioned it just a little bit earlier, Paul Chilabia, but perhaps Wollongong are starting to worry just a little bit. They were very confident coming into the ground, as they should have been.
We may look back on that save at some stage during this game and wonder what impact that had.
Gibson is short. Adelaide. Oh, Thomas might be stolen by Horsley. Costanzo. Probably Stanton. This is 13th finals game in the Ericsson Cup. Is their most experienced performer. Scotty Chipperfield, men running in the middle. Perinich is there. You get another chance, Chipperfield. Perinich, no. It's a Wollongong ball.
And that was great coverage by Alex Tobin going across there, because it was one-on-one there for a while, Blakey, and Adelaide City looked like it was stretched quite wide, and again Wollongong have shown that they can hit on the break, and that's going to be an important factor.
Let's just have a look again to Chipperfield against Tobin. Very timely. Here's the corner for the Wolves. They're down by 1. Yates away. Dimoski. Surris is over the top. It's for Ceccoli. Does well to keep it in. Alvin looks up. Takes the percentage pass back for Horsley. In the corner, Salapasidis. Oh, Perinich got his noggin to it as well. And that was a lovely bit of manoeuvring from a difficult situation by Wollongong, and that's much more encouraging for the Wolves.
Yeah, we'll see. It's just a great turn there by Costa on the byline, and he's just whipped that in so quickly, and unfortunately they couldn't get a header on goal.
Well, Adelaide City have twice come from elimination finals to win championships, 92 and 94. going to be their hardest road to hoe as Costanzo goes it Perinich to ground. It's a mad scramble. Terrific finals feel about the game. It's been a terrific opening. Mori hit the crossbar. Adelaide scored. Brett Hughes pulling out a brilliant save. A lot happening off the ball too as we wait for the throw-in. Horsley will get the second chance.
I think that's something we've come to expect from these two teams. As we said, there's something like 12 goals being scored this season between them over 3 games, so you wouldn't expect much else from it.
There's been some thrillers this year. Eugene Brazzali having a talk to Angela Costanzo. There's Anthony Surjan on screen. It's the peripheral strike force of Wollongong which is the danger. They've only got one man, that's Chipperfield, in the top goal scorers in the league. They've got so many like Surjan and several others who've come through with 4, 5, 6 goals during the campaign. Matty Horsley 5, Alvin Ceccoli 5. I believe there's a side bet between Alvin and Matty to decide who top scores out of the two of them this season. Although they're not prepared to divulge what the stakes are. Tobin away. As we head to the half-hour mark, great ball over the top. Hassell for Mori against Ceccoli, against Sinozic rather. The 19-year-old under pressure early, but well, Scott Thomas. Brooks. Dodd. Toe poked it, tried to finesse it when probably should have just pummeled it. Won't get a second chance. Well played, Alvin. Chipperfield. Finally belted clear by George Souris. And Eugene Brazzali, as we see the confirmation of the half an hour scoreline. 30 minutes down and Adelaide City lead 1-0. But it's still Wollongong on aggregate. Dimoski. Now Brett Hughes, Matt Horsley and Sash Dimoski were all in the Wollongong team, which was beaten in the 93 minor semi-final here in Adelaide against Adelaide City, and that was a 4-0 scoreline.
I think we see this ball come through, we'll find that it actually goes off Madeline Horsley from there. Yeah, there's just a touch, so linesman's missed. So Greg, it seems that, again, Wollongong look much more dangerous when they try and get the ball a little bit wider and get in behind Adelaide City, but trying to shoot from 20, 30 yards out, it's just really wasting their time, and they don't need to get rid of the ball quickly. In fact, they want to hold on to it as long as they can to stifle Adelaide City's game. So they really just need to settle down into this game and think about a little bit more what they're doing.
Now this is Wollongong's first game on the road for a month. Consecutive matches against Perth, Sydney United and Adelaide City up at their stronghold at Brandon Park. It must be said too that their form away from home late in the season has been pretty good. I don't think they'll be too daunted by this matchup. They felt they weren't far away last time they played at the Hindmarsh Pool in that game, that 4-2 game. They felt that had a couple of breaks gone their way. They had Adelaide City's measure, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that game was something special and really could have gone either way with Adelaide City just getting a couple of goals to sort of finish off the Wollongong Wolves in the late in the first half.
Wollongong have been particularly stylish this year. 45 goals in the regular season. Another 3 to start their finals campaign. Adelaide City content to play the possession game. It was, just to reiterate again, last year in that game When they came from behind against Marconi, it was only 1-0 at half-time, so the scenario at this point is identical to what it was 12 months ago. They could make it to Adelaide City, we would be rocking and rolling here at the Hindmarsh. I think this is probably a good move just to be a little bit patient too. Paul?
That's right. There's no need to try and get the first 3 goals, 3 goals in the first half. It's a long game, and if you just pace yourselves and not do anything silly about it, it's quite possible. Wollongong scored 3 goals in the first half or the second half of the last week's game, so it's not a daunting thing when you break it down over 2 halves of a game.
Adelaide City up by 1. Tobin. And Petkovic back in the Adelaide half at the moment. Brooks for Ivanovic. Well, he hasn't had as much time up forward all season, Ivanovic. Thomas bends it deep. Gibson got his head to it. It was Dodd, in fact. No, it was Gibbo.
I think that tells you the intention of Adelaide City. I think we've seen Milano Ivanovic over the halfway line more times in this game than for the whole season. So he certainly is out there trying to lead by example and chase the ball forward.
Adelaide City have lost 3 of their last 4 and only won 1 of their last 9. But they're leading this one, and this is the time to do it. Wollongong Horsley. Cannons off Scott Thomas. Robbie Stanton. Chipperfield will allow the ball to run for a throw-in. Scott Chipperfield scored a double in the first half, as we said at Hindmarsh when the teams last met on February 18. Home and away season, rather. Oh, this is terrific from Wollongong. Chance, Perinich, slide tackle, desperation away by Gibson. Horsley, up and under. Zebras, they might get the bounce though. Wollongong, Surjan, no, can't force it through. Horsley. And he saw Petkovic just 1 or 2 steps off his line. It was ambitious, but we've seen goals come from more remarkable situations than that, and it will be an Adelaide City ball now to relieve the pressure. But Wollongong certainly are answering.
Yeah, I think the ball's just come through and bounced off his hand, so it sort of relieved the pressure on Adelaide City because the ball was a bit like a pinball in there for a while in the Adelaide City box. But again, just a little bit more patience by Wollongong is going to cause Adelaide City a lot more troubles than trying to shoot from outside of the box.
Time, as we said, is certainly on the side of Wollongong. Ceccoli squeezes it down the sideline. Costanzo away. Chipperfield steps in. Perinich can't hold the football. Tobin put around by Mori. Brooks goes to ground. There was no free kick there.
Greg, it's been a good game. The game has flowed fairly well without any cynical tackles or any harshness in the game at all. So that's good to see that the pressure is still allowing them to play a good game of soccer here.
No, these are 2 terrific footy teams, and they have been all year. Salapasidis got that late game double to sink Adelaide last weekend, his old club. He didn't play in the fixture back on February 18th, the week of his move to Wollongong. He came back with a vengeance. He really wanted to impress last weekend. Alex Tobin, of course, who was involved in a couple of fiery incidents against Salapasidis. Long bomb from Ivanovic for Brooks. And it might just be, yes it is. He edges his way to the line and it will be a corner to Adelaide City. Deep into the first half.
Greg, it was interesting that apart from Costa not playing in that first game, that was actually part of the agreement, I understand, that he couldn't play. And looking on last week's game, you can understand why.
Costa certainly felt that he had a point to prove. Scott Thomas with the corner. That's a difficult one. Hughes, I think, got a hand to it. And an infringement by, I think it might have been Mark Yates, on Brett Hughes.
Yeah, I think Brett Hughes is under a lot of pressure here as the ball comes in. We see he's going to be clattered fairly heavily by a couple of big Adelaide City players there. I think a fairly clear free kick in that case, Greg.
I tell you what, it'd take a bit to get Brett Hughes onto the ground too. Terrific build for a footballer of any code, this bloke. He's a 4-club veteran of the league, but he's done most of his time at Wollongong, Brett Hughes. Yates back for Ivanovic, Tobin. Ivanovic, of course, becoming only the second player to play 30 Ericsson Cup finals tonight, so another milestone for him. Tobin, who is playing in his 35th. Ivanovic getting forward again. Mori. Standing on his hammer was Sinozic. Well, they're measuring it now. Adelaide may be content to go in at the break 1-0. Still a long way shy of the target, though. Chipperfield. Salapasidis. Thomas is hanging off him. Ceccoli's got some room to move. He's got an open lane to run through. Lofts it. Perinich gets to it. Chance for Salapasidis forced away. Ceccoli, and he'll get the corner, will he? Off the shoulder of Mark Yates. No, he won't. Petkovic scampers across his goal mouth. But still 1-0. Adelaide City, we are into the last 5 minutes of the first half. Exclusive to Sports Australia on week 2 of the finals. There it is, 40 minutes elapsed in this opening half, and Adelaide, I suppose you'd say they're on target perhaps, 1-0 to the better of Wollongong at this stage. Ivanovic, one of 2 ever-present members of an Adelaide City team that hasn't finished lower than 4th in the Ericsson Cup for 10 years. Damien Mori with power. Nearly for Brooks. Surjan got his foot in. Timely it was too. Bradley Hassell on his left foot, and the blast is into the side netting. Off the crossbar, the outer side of the crossbar, or into the stanchions. It doesn't matter. It was just the clang of the woodwork.
Great acceleration there by Bradley Hassell on his line. He's just gone past the defenders, and he's just gone, unfortunately, on the wrong side of the crossbar there. You can just see he just waltzed past him with that shot, and just closed down the last minute. It's just made him go off target a little bit, but that could have been the second one that really opened up this game.
Well, I wonder if the missed chances and that absolutely splendid save from Brett Hughes are going to give Wollongong this elimination final tie in 97-98 Ericsson Cup action. Adelaide City heading toward half-time with a 1-0 lead. Yates lets it run for Dodd. Yates runs to receive. Very deep. Gibson was the late runner. Brooks on the turn, and Brooksy ends up with his backside on the turf. And the football up in the bleachers.
I think if he'd heard Bradley Hassell coming in there, Bradley was coming into the goal, in towards the goals, and could have had a good volley there, but unfortunately Brooksy couldn't see him coming, so it was a very difficult shot trying to volley a ball from and your backs facing the goals.
Well, Michael Brooks has only scored 1 playoff goal career. They've got the guns out there. Damien Mori's scored 7 in the finals. Brad Hassell scored 6. Mori was the equal record holder until Francis Awara-Tiffy last night, or today rather.
That's just a soft free kick. Bradley's really got to, that's taking the pressure off of Wollongong when they've got their backs to the walls there. So he's got to make sure he just pressures them and not gives the free kick away.
Hassell. Brooks for Ivanovic. Wollongong would be pretty happy with this too at half-time. Free kick against Horsley on Johnny Gibson. Square for Dodd, youngest player out there. Stanton. Tobin's there, wouldn't want to dwell on it too long. Chipperfield. Running in, Costanzo for Hassell again, enjoying his return to the senior team. Open man out there is Travis Dodd. Mori with the header. He just got a glance to that. Brett Hughes knew exactly where that was heading. Now, Ceccoli goes long. Let's have a look at their header again. And Mori, well, he manoeuvred about a metre for himself, but Brett Hughes didn't even have to raise a sweat. Given away too easily then. Into the last 60 seconds of regulation time in this opening half. Elimination final, second leg. Adelaide City hosting Wollongong here at Hindmarsh Stadium. 12th finals game ever played here, including a couple of grand finals. There's been some special moments, including the miracle comeback of Adelaide City last year, but Wollongong certainly not going to allow the Zebras a repeat of that if they can help it. Horsley gives it away. There might have been a free kick called play on by Eugene Brazzali. Hassell unsure and covered. Thomas. Yates for Mori. Sinozic with him. Mori tries to get the turn outside the defender. Ceccoli's there with the assist. He belts it clear, gets it round the corner. Perinich is there. Looks up, wants to hold the foot. He hasn't got much support. Salapasidis makes the run. He too has got no support to his right. Perinich to his left. Might have waited too long. Oh, Salapasidis off for Dimoski. Surjan it was, but regardless, it was a wasted effort. Anthony Surjan scored 8 this year, but might have done better with that. Great move, terrific stuff from Wollongong. More of what we've come to expect from the Wolves. 97-98. Into injury time in this first half, and Adelaide City, they led Marconi in that 4-0 comeback win last year by 1-0 at half-time. And that is exactly the way they're going to go in at half-time 12 months later. Souris on screen a moment ago. There's the Adelaide fans, an air of expectation in Adelaide today, talking about the chances of producing another miraculous comeback. Well, the scenario is identical to 12 months ago. As you see, the halftime score confirmed: Adelaide City 1, Wollongong City 0. And we'll be trying to confirm that goal score. It may well be Mark Yates trying to claim it. Perhaps an own goal, said Paul Schillerbeer. Regardless, it's the score that counts. Adelaide up by 1-0. We'll take a break and come back with the halftime summary with Robbie Wheatley down on the ground. Australia game here at this venue during that series. There's the Adelaide City team back out on the park. They are first out for this second half, and they do know the territory pretty well. Adelaide City, huge task for them. They need 2 goals and to keep Wollongong scoreless to keep the tie alive. Let's look across with the part of the Adelaide skyline. Mark Yates nearly scored tonight. Here's 1 goal for the season against Adelaide City here on February 18th. 96 games for Mark Yates as Wollongong also rejoin us for the second half, and it appears neither side have gone to the bench for this second half. On the bench for Wollongong, Ray Eunice, Noel Spencer. Reserve goalkeepers Adam Broderick, Asala Masai and Colin Luff. On the bench for Adelaide City, rather. Brad Armour, Chris Dimoski, Michael Perinich, Nicky Sabeljak, and reserve goalkeeper Les Pogliacomi. There's Eugene Brazzardi from Melbourne on deck for this eliminator, the last of the elimination games. Wollongong, first use of the footy in this second half from right to left of your screen in vibrant all red. The Wollongong Wolves. They have been terrific. It's been a red letter year for Wollongong, breaking all sorts of box office records for good reason. Played a terrific brand of football. It can all come to naught if they come unstuck here tonight. Travis Dodd wrestles his way out of a couple of challenges. Robbie Stanton, terrific, away. In 27 just a couple of weeks ago, Robbie Stanton heading toward 200 games in the Ericsson Cup. Surjan pushes it wide. Horsley back for Surjan. Body check from Hassell. That was off the ball. No free kick after the pass was made. Well, that's a Wollongong free kick. That's a get back anyway. Squared for Perinich. Dimoski. And Petkovic down to it. He had his jersey stretched, but Eugene Brazzardi, to his credit, has let just about everything go tonight. And as Paul Shillabere pointed out earlier on, there has not been a nasty moment in this game yet. It's just been great football. Damien Mori, Brooks under pressure, difficult angle to work from. Well, there was no one home for Adelaide City. He did not really have an option, Brooksy then, and Alvin away for the Wolves. He's been fantastic tonight, Alvin Ceccoli. Loose ball, chased out. Wollongong come up with it, Perinich. Got that match opener last weekend in front of an all-time record crowd at Brandon Park. A great moment that was. Souris, ball is ill-directed. Tobin heads it down. Costanzo push it out of it. Adelaide crowd pensive, white-knuckled, I should think. They get a goal here. It's going to be a wild old ride down to the final whistle. We've just played 2 and a tick minutes in this second half. Dimoski with nowhere to go. Suris, long. Tobin, Thomas. And free kick to go the way of the Zebras. Travis Dodd, 18 years old, second start ever in the Ericsson Cup. Ivanovic, turned inside by Yates, makes the running Yates. Finally charged down by Anthony Surjan, who had to make up a huge amount of ground from midfield.
Yeah, that was great covering. Yates, he got free here, and Surjan's come in from the midfield, and really this could have been a very dangerous ball if he hadn't managed to get past. But Adelaide City have started off again, getting a corner early in the second half. So see if they can take off from where they left.
Couldn't see it on screen there, but Surjan had to make up about 15 metres. There's the corner. Thomas. Ivanovic. Todd leaves it for Costanzo. Every player, again, bar Petkovic in Adelaide City's attacking half. Brooks. Hassell. 3 changes to the Adelaide team from the first leg, and in the end it just started to sit at the right moment. Brett Hughes was untroubled. He made a heck of a calculation. Brad Hassell then, Perinich, and running outside him. Doesn't matter, it's a free kick. Let's just have a look again.
I think it was more of a cross, and it's just come off the bad way and the wrong.
Well, that's a great header.
Yeah, you can see Brett's really not troubled by it. He's just watching where he is and had plenty of time to have a good look at it.
Just behind just as the replay was coming, Matt Horsley got a header on goal at that out of screen to your left, and he is not a well boy. He's down and he's hurt, and play is going to continue. I don't think anybody's noticed. Eugene Brazzardi is now running away from screen, as you can see. Let's have a look. We might get to see it again here. Matt Horsley is still down on the carpet.
I think that's the free kick.
That's the free kick that led to it. And look at Horsley. Eugene Brazali is there talking to the Wollongong skipper.
Seems to have hurt his wrist more than anything else.
Well, I suspect it would take nothing short of a couple of broken limbs to get Matt Horsley out of this game. He's waited a long time. He is a career Wollongong man. He is the skipper of the club, the game's record holder, and he's an absolutely sensational player too. And he has, the wild horses wouldn't keep him out of the fray here. Salapasidis, Gibson doing the bustling work. Great run by Dimoski, Perinich. Ivanovic goes with him. Tony Perinich weighs it up. Right, Horsley on the carpet. Right to left, and Alvin Ceccoli with the shot. The ball's loose. Perinich, and a great second effort from the goalkeeper, Jason Petkovic. I thought he was in trouble for a fleeting moment.
Well,
Perinich was looming.
That's good news for Wollongong because that's the first chance they've really come in. As they come in, the shot's really just bounced in front of Petkovic. He's managed to push it away, but he's had to get up very quickly because there was a pack of wolves coming in there to finish that off, and he's managed to just push it around for a corner.
Pack of wolves. Don't talk shit of it.
That's probably the first really clear chance that Wollongong have created in this whole game. So I think their intentions are to sort of hopefully kill this game off as quickly as possible.
Which they can do with an away goal. Ceccoli, great throw. Costanzo had to arch his back to clear it. Gibson belts it away from the danger zone. Mori runs to it ahead of Sinozic. Back for Tobin, for Ivanovic rather. Stretches out. Big Miller gets forward again. Around the defender. Mori got no room to move in. It wasn't going to happen for him then. Well done by Souris to poke it away. They might be in trouble again though. Brooks to the line. Brooks gets it back, and finally Wollongong relieve the pressure. And I tell you what's pretty animated out there. Robbie Stanton was, who made that clearing header, was absolutely into a couple of his teammates. As Chipperfield makes the run for Wollongong out of nothing. The man inside was Salapasidis. Costanzo beat him to it. Oh, gee, electrifying end to end. They could have put it away then. The Adelaide City fans.
The tempo's sort of picked up in this second half, and I think this is going to be a case of one left standing at the end.
Oh, they have had a couple of shootouts this year. And this is fantastic. Bradley Hassell, well, he's scored a few goals career. It's not been a big year for Brad Hassell, and that was a little disappointing.
He did well. He shaped to come up inside, did everything, beat his man, and then just stumbled over the shot. And Brad won't be happy with that at all because it was a clear opportunity for him. But you can see that the pressure is mounting here between both teams. It's really a case of which team can struggle to get control of this game from here on in. Both teams are creating chances, and it really, as we know, if Wollongong can get one goal, it'll be all over, and if Adelaide City can score, it's on for young and old.
Well, checked out the bookmakers downstairs pre-game, and you could have got, from memory, I think it was 8-1 for a 3-0 win, something like 30-1 for a 4-0 win for Adelaide City. Dodd launches one deep. Brett Hughes to the front of the pack and away. Oh, that's a great kick for the speedster Costa Salapasidis. He's impeded, can't get around the goalkeeper. Oh, Petkovic, you're a hero. Well, it hasn't been a great year for Jason Petkovic, but that was a terrific pick-off.
That was absolutely amazing. Brett Hughes saw that Costa was on his own up front, put the ball, and Costa's speed was just too much, and he's actually tried to go around Jason here, but maybe was better off, but Jason's read the ball, and that's a fantastic stop. That's kept Adelaide City in the game.
Well, there's been two top calibre, world-class stops tonight. One from Brett Hughes, from Milan Ivanovic, and now that one from Jason Petkovic, from Costa Salapasidis. And both sides have revved the engines since half-time. It's been a withering start to the second half. Adelaide City up by a goal to 0. Wollongong 3-1 overall in the tie so far. Surjan drives the corner deep. Dodd goes long. Brooks is outnumbered. Horsley there. Oh, that's a terrific weighted pass for Perinich. Draws it back. Standing his ground was Yates. He just angled it away from the danger zone. And that is, well, how about that? Wouldn't that take your breath away? Alvin has scored the goal that should put Wollongong through to the next round of the finals. Alvin Ceccoli.
That makes it very hard for Adelaide City. I would say, without a doubt, that's basically the end of the game. And really, it's come from nothing. A loose ball, and he's just picked the ball up. Had a bit of an opportune strike, and Jason, I think, will be very disappointed with that because it's just snuck underneath him. So that basically is the end of the game, I would say. It makes it very difficult for Adelaide City from here.
Well, Alvin Ceccoli, 5 goals this year. That's his 6th. And he left Jason Petkovic clutching it out.
Adelaide City, Greg, have got no choice now but to just all men to the pump and have just got to go for it for wherever they can. Which is going to probably be a lot of space at the back for Wollongong to exploit.
And Alvin Ceccoli will be happy with that. His little side bet with Matt Horsley. He's now scored 6 for the season. Costanzo will get the corner for Adelaide City. Maybe an early reply here will help the cause, but you've got to remember that away goals count for double in a tie, so it is a huge ask for Adelaide City now. Costanzo, near post header, was expected from Brooks. It was just too long from him. And all of a sudden, the crowd has gone deathly quiet. Perinich speeds away from Travis Dodd. He's got men left and right. The options are opening up for him. Matt Horsley dwells over the football. He might get a loose ball. Perinich, and well, he's just a little bit over-eager, Tony Perinich then.
I think that's going to be the pattern of the game from here, with Adelaide City pushing forward. And Wollongong had the numbers here to really bury the game totally, but he's just snatched at it and he'll be very disappointed with it. But as I said, Greg, that's the way the game's going to go from now on.
As we said, Wollongong have not scored a win against Adelaide City here since 1988, but even a draw tonight will be as good as any victory they've scored here. It'll be a red letter night. There's thousands of fans who were at Brandon Park last weekend. I should imagine that they're tuning into this one on Sports Australia at the moment. They will be celebrating long and loud, and so they should. Beating Adelaide City in a final is a huge ask. The aristocrats of the competition. But Wollongong now, Perinich. Didn't quite have the pace to get around Ivanovic. Cuts it back. Horsley's there. Waits for Ceccoli, who wants to do it all over again. Well, good on you, Alvin. But not that time. It's 1 each in this reverse leg of the 3rd v 6th final. Good through ball. Michael Brooks not long enough for him. Angled away by Sinozic. Just look through the list of those Wollongong players. Eunice, Ceccoli, Surjan, Chipperfield, Souris, Spencer, Perinich, Sinozic, Masai, all of them playing in their first ever final series. Played in their first finals game last weekend. And how about that for a victory, rolling Adelaide City? It would have happened in your day, Paul.
No, I couldn't have let something like that happen, but we can't talk about that anymore, Blakey.
No, it's old news. Wollongong, they certainly have been the most impressive new face in the competition this year. And they're going to be justly rewarded now. Great ball, coast to coast, from Yates to Costanzo. Hassell's in there. Nowhere to go against Dimoski. Mori. Well, 7 games. Finals games without a goal for Damien Mori. This might be 8. Edges it for Brooks. In Adelaide City corner. We've still got a bit of time to play with. We're coming up on the quarter hour in the second half. We'll take a couple of goals now. Stanton with the header off the near post. Thomas is there. Costanzo to the line. Costanzo. Stanton again. Every player again camped in that Adelaide City attacking half, bar Jason Petkovic, of course, and it looks like the Zebras will be first to go to the bench. Mark Yates getting the call. Well, it hasn't been a bad performance from him at all, Mark Yates, but I think he's just going to try and change the complexion of the game a little bit because the new man in, Nicky Savelyak, another teenager. There's the substitution confirmed. Mark Yates out, Nick Savelyak in.
I'd say, Greg, the Adelaide City are really going to push everyone forward and just rely on trying to score some quick goals.
Savelyak first touch. Here's a header. And the free kick against Johnny Gibson then. There's the 18-year-old Nick Savelyak. Played a couple of games last year. Another 10 this year. His career is in front of him yet. Savelyak through 2 tackles, awkwardly but successfully. Hassell for Gibson. Horsley. And he has played another particularly impressive game, Matt Horsley. Horsley was the standout performer when Wollongong was struggling and thoroughly deserves to get the platform to strut his stuff in the finals. Ceccoli be able to chase that down. He will. He's got better as the game has gone on. It's been terrific. Hassell for Dodd, Savelyak. One each. Tick over the hour. Hassell. Pops it up. Bolted long by Anthony Surjan. Might drop for Perinich. Dodd, Thomas. Costanzo. The sands of time continue to elapse. Eugene Brazzali playing impeded Dimoski then. Chipperfield gets it back well. Under the circumstances, it will be a corner. Finally forced over the line by Travis Dodd.
I think you can see that the Wollongong Wolves, their confidence is sky high now. They're pushing the ball around a lot more confidently than they were in the first half, and I think they probably know that's in their bag, but their coach won't be letting them relax too much until the final whistle.
It's an ideal situation. Just one goal has swung the game. Petkovic double fist over the top. Dodd. Stanton. Stanton, as we said, just 27, about around about the 15th of the month. He too, a veteran of a couple of clubs, but he's like everybody, I think. He's on the Wollongong bandwagon at the moment. Might be loving it up in the Steel City. He's just about booked an appointment with Marconi next weekend. Costanzo, just a little bit of extra kick in the legs of Wollongong now. Savelyak puts it to the air. Hassell down, Brooks can't reach it. And Alvin away. Knocks it upfield. Offside was the call against Scotty Chipperfield. We've only been marginal though. I thought he made the run well.
I thought that was a bit close there. He's probably Adelaide City are lucky that they got away with that. You see the ball comes in over the top, and Yeah, a little bit hard to tell from that replay, but from where we are, Greg, I think that was a very close decision.
I guess for Wollongong at this point now, the only real thought would maybe to be ice the victory as Costanzo makes produces some dramatic theatre anyway.
Yeah, Costa just tried to do something, but then just pulled back Angelo Costanzo there, which was probably very silly of him because there's no need to do any kind of fouls like that at all. And I don't think the Wollongong bench will be really happy with that kind of a yellow card as they work in the finals with 2 yellow cards meaning automatic suspension.
Well, Salapasidis fortunately not one of the yellow carded players for Wollongong last weekend. Chipperfield, Surris and Sebastian Sinozic were the 3 players who were booked. Salapasidis is also now sitting on a yellow card. Tobin. Sabalyak, it almost found its way right across the penalty area. Gibson back for Hassell, loose ball, Damien Mori. No, it's not their night. Maybe the last embers of Adelaide City's season just blown out then. 20 minutes played in this second half. It would take the most remarkable of comebacks to light the fires of Adelaide City's championship challenge again. Ceccoli, he reckons he can do anything tonight. Perinich does well to keep it in Wollongong possession, and Chipperfield will force the corner. And you just get the sense, don't you, Paul Shillerbeer, that the edge has gone off the game as far as Adelaide City are concerned. I think they know too that their fate is pretty much in the history books already. Yeah,
you can really see the Wollongongs have certainly picked up their pace where Adelaide City's heads are now starting to drop, and it's a momentous task for them to get back from here as this corner comes in.
Double palm away. Chipperfield comes again. Eugene Brazzani will have to talk to Jason Petkovic, who is having words with the goalkeeper. There's a superstar of the future.
I guess at this stage frustration would be coming into Adelaide City because, as I said, they probably know the game's gone for them, and they've got to play out, I guess, another 20-odd minutes before the game's all over. But you've just got to keep on trying, Greg. There's nothing else you can do. You just don't know in this game what can possibly happen.
And you do have to think in terms of the clashes between these two this year as well, certainly in the home and away games. 20 minutes has produced some remarkable scorelines. Chipperfield, just too long for Salapasidis. Costanzo lets it run, so they really wouldn't want to take the foot off the pedal at the moment.
No, I don't think so. I mean, you've got to understand Adelaide City have got a fairly strong strike force, and okay, 4 goals is a lot of goals, but if they're going to relax, it's not going to take them too long to fall behind, and the pressure's going to switch back again. I mean, I can't see that happening, Greg, but you really want to play out a game this to the last minute, and I'm sure the Wollongong coach will be telling his players to keep up their concentration and play this game out till the full 90 minutes are up.
Well, that Wollongong goal has certainly taken the crowd out of it, if nothing else. There was an imposing nature to this South Australian crowd. Let's have a look at the replay of that free kick then. Oh, Michael Brooks was on his knees. He got George Souris' shorts down. Might have been the only victory that Adelaide City will get tonight. Attacking the opposition, Paul. Ceccoli round the corner. Tobin away, and even then I suppose the way Albans played tonight, you wouldn't mind being dacked in public. Scotty Thomas tops one. John Gibson. Horsley stays with him. Brad Hassell move some players forward. You can hear the impatience of the fans. They're just meandering around at the moment. Some of the Adelaide players got to get forward. Sabalyak for Dodd. 2 teenagers. Played by Travis Dodd. Oh, that was so close, Michael Brooks. That was terrific stuff from the youngster, Travis Dodd. He pinpointed that cross too.
Yeah, you can see he's had to wait and wait for somebody to come to that near post and put in a good ball, and But good defending there. George Surjan, I think it was, really blocked that ball off. So George Surjan hasn't stopped this game. He's kept his concentration up, and that's so important at this stage of the game.
Well, George Souris is another player who has stamped himself as a player of some quality this year. Again, through that Wollongong lineup, several players who were peripherals at other clubs, and even at Wollongong at their own club. But Souris has started in 22 games and appeared in 26 overall. Ceccoli, not that time against Tobin. Brooks, Gibson's outside. Switches play though for Hassell. Sinozic comes to him. Mori, Scott Thomas into the right boot. Too long. Poor old Michael Brooks. A look of exasperation as the ball went whizzing past him.
Look at the screen there, we can see there's a bit of move in the Adelaide City bench, so I'm sure they'll be thinking of what moves can be made to add a bit of spice to this game. But really, that was just he was really hanging a leg out, hoping for the best there, and not the best of balls for him to look for there.
And I think when we saw that shot of the Adelaide bench, and maybe Bradley Armour is getting the warm-up drop from the team, which lost at Wollongong last weekend, now being possibly recalled to action. The last gasps of oxygen are almost out of Adelaide City, and that maybe tells a story. Travis Dodd. There's really been a significant change about the Adelaide City team since that goal. It's almost as if they accepted their fate at that point.
Well, with Wollongong scoring, I mean, Adelaide City's got to score 5 goals to stay in this game, and you know, even against any team, and we know these games have scored a lot, but the ask to get to 5 is probably a little bit too much, and I'm pretty sure the players would know that, especially at this stage of the game, and even when that goal was first scored.
Well, Wollongong have done everything with a flourish and with style this season, and you cannot ask for more than a victory in the opening elimination final against Adelaide City as the Zebras go to the bench. And Travis Dodd, that tired old pass before, perhaps resigning him to his fate. He gets dragged, and as you can see, follically challenge. Bradley Armour comes out for his 84th Ericsson Cup appearance, so he's done some time.
Greg, I find that switch a little bit strange. I mean, taking off probably a more attacking player and bringing on a left fullback when you've got Chris Dimoski on the bench to add a bit of firepower. It may be all insignificant now, but if you're going to keep trying, I mean, the best opportunity is to put more players on that are capable of scoring goals.
And you would still hope that Adelaide City could end this season, their 9th consecutive finals appearance, with a flourish. Bradley Armour is skipping a jump. Made by Stanton. Having said that, you can only wax lyrical about this Wollongong team and then ask the question, how far, how deep into the playoffs can they now go?
I think the team's got the capabilities of probably going quite a long way. I mean, South Melbourne I still think would be the favourites for the title this year, but Wollongong can turn it on, and we've seen that a number of times. They have a good defence, good attack, so I don't think this is the end for Wollongong either. They've got a good opportunity of going further in this game.
Damien Mori on the run. It's just not going to happen for Adelaide City tonight. You've got that feeling. They've spurned some chances early in the game. They've spurned a couple since. Surjan, the options inside for Horsley. He goes outside for Chipperfield. Well played. Scotty Chipperfield drives deep, cuts back, right foot. Salapasidis! Well, that just underscores the brilliance of this kid. Costa Salapasidis scored 2 last weekend, and then in his own inimitable style The 19-year-old tells the Adelaide City supporters all about it, and I bet John Niskahus is not feeling anything but very, very sick at the moment.
No, that's hurt, but all credit to Costa. An absolutely fantastic turn in the middle of the box there. He's controlled it with one touch and dummy for the shot, and he's just left Bradley Armour for dead. And look at the finish of this in the top corner, and left Jason Petkovic with no chance. That's got to hurt Adelaide City, and in particular, I guess the committee that made the decision to put him out on loan to Wollongong.
And Costa Salapasidis gets his third finals goal of this series. And you just wonder how far he can go. The best ever in a final series is 4 goals, scored by a few players. Well, Costa's already got 3, and now definitely a game to come. And possibly more. Costanzo. And it just meanders aimlessly over the line. You just look to it. You're talking about Wollongong. Well, they've thumped Marconi, and that's their opponent in the next round, 5-0. Wollongong going to the bench. Costa Salapasidis is coming off the ground. And the crowd alternating between cheers and boos, some wishing him well and congratulating him. And some probably just a little bit dirty on Costa Salapasidis for ending the season. Masai, former Gippsland Falcons player, comes into the game for his look at the action. Nasai scored the couple in Wollongong's 2-1 win up at Brandon Park in the home and away season, so he doesn't mind the opposition either. As we were saying, Marconi now is the matchup for Wollongong next weekend. Wollongong thumped Marconi 5-0 at Brandon Park earlier in the season. They got a scoreless draw in the return game. I reckon they might fancy themselves. I
think so. But Greg, are you saying that Adelaide City can't score another 5 goals in this game?
I'm tipping we're pretty close to the edge now for Adelaide City. They've walked the precipice, but I think they've just well and truly toppled over it now. Compliments of Costa Salapasidis. There's Asala Masai. His first touch. Matty Horsley. Well, he'll be loving this, Matthew Horsley. That's a free kick. Bradley Armour unceremoniously dumping the Wollongong skipper.
It's going to be... really, this is a frustration tackle. I mean, no intention really to even get the ball as far as that's concerned. Wollongong won't mind. It's just slowing down the time, and I just wonder how many other players he's going to substitute to keep fresh for next week.
32 minutes have elapsed in this second half as Moore concedes another throw-in. Matt Horsley, more than any other player, will savour this one. As we said earlier on, Horsley, the only Wollongong survivor from the 2 Wollongong teams who were last in the finals in 92 and 93, and both times they came unstuck against Adelaide City. Well, revenge has been a long time coming, but it will be sweet for Matt Horsley tonight. A 5-1 aggregate scoreline for those irrepressible Wollongong Wolves, and they are howling, I will guarantee, up in Wollongong watching this broadcast.
Yes, I think there'll be a hero's welcome for the boys when they get back to Wollongong, and a great crowd for next week. I mean, if they could get that many down to Wollongong, I mean, the whole town will be in Sydney, won't it?
Oh, look, they have been fantastic. The Wollongong supporters this year, as we said earlier on, have set club records in aggregate attendance and a club record in single game attendances this year. Eugene Brazzali, the match referee, is heading off the park to... I think he's just found something on the playing surface. It's a free kick to Adelaide City. There's Brad Armour, just on the ground a couple of moments ago. Angelo Costanzo stands the free kick. Just turned 22. Costanzo drills it. Hughes went airborne. Oh, what a strike! Hello, finals footy. Well, it doesn't matter that the game is all but over, but Nicky Saveljak may be getting a look in on the highlight reels of the season. That was a blast and a half from young Nicky. Well, he has just left vapor trails with that one. Here we go, there's the punch from Hughes. And wham! Nick Saveljak, who came into the game in the second half, the 18-year-old, makes it 2 each. But it's still 5-2 Wollongong on aggregate. The Wolves are through, but you walk a long way and pay a bit of money to see a goal like that. So well done by the kid.
it certainly was a spectacular goal and a fantastic finish. It probably just doesn't mean anything, but certainly a goal worthy of any game, that one.
An absolute beauty. His second career goal, second of the season. Nick Sabliak. Wollongong got the numbers. Asala Masai. Dance steps past two. The man outside him is Dimoski. Armour. Going to allow him all that much, and Dimoski goes to ground. It's a Wollongong ball. Brad Armour arguing the toss with Eugene Brazzardi. Just to go through those yellow cards again. Chipperfield, Souris and Sinozic booked last weekend, and only the one yellow card tonight.
Yeah, the game's certainly been a very clean affair the whole way through.
Horsley down for Scott Chipperfield, drags it across the goal mouth. Alvin Ceccoli wants to, and he came within a millimetre of doing that. Oh, Alvin, it's been your night, son.
Yeah, I think he thought he had another one in the back of that net then as well. Again, same sort of position, and this time Jason Petkovic just managed to get a hand on it and push it around the corner. You see it's come through a crowd of players, and yeah, still a good save by Petkovic there.
I reckon Alvin Ceccoli will be out in the phone box changing into his Superman suit later on. He reckons he can, was it bend steel with his bare hand. He's had a terrific night. Sabliak for Bradley Armour, head down. Runs at Sinozic. Oh, finds a great option. Scotty Thomas is against the wall. Sabliak wants to do it again, Nicky. Not this time. Got the cross in though. Good work by Surjan, forcing him wide then. Masai, oh cheeky. Surjan. Perinich runs up the middle. Alvin Ceccoli bobs up again. Matt Horsley. I don't want to get too lazy about it, Wollongong. No, I suppose they can actually. The harsh reality is they can. If nothing else, that wonderful strike from Nick Sabliak has given the Adelaide City Barrackers, who've enjoyed so much success over the years, something to cheer about. Damien Mori turns a tight circle against three, but in the end the numbers won out. Bradley Hassell over the top, too long for Nick Sabliak, and that 4 goals per game average between those two clubs. Again tonight, it's 2 each.
Yeah, but it's just lived up to its normal game. I said in the beginning, this game will be a great game in its own right, disregarding the fact of what the score was before it started. But again, another 4 goals. It's just an incredible game. You'd be asking the coaches to look at their defences and they're playing each other, I think.
Well, certainly if the spectre of that 3-0 first leg match had not been looming large over this return game, you would say one out that this has been another special between two really good footy teams.
Certainly, and even if we look at the quality of the goals, Salapasidis' goal was fantastic, and probably I'd have to say topped by Nicky Sabliak's as well. So just the quality of the whole game has still been there, even though it's a dead game at this stage, but it's just a fantastic game between two good teams.
As cliched as it may be, it is sad that either of these two clubs have to bow out of the finals race, but that is the way, the cutthroat nature of these elimination finals. And Wollongong heading, hopefully, certainly for the boys, and Nick Theodorakopoulos, whose career is now 70 games old here at Wollongong. They can make it a best ever season for the club. Perinich. Petkovic comes, well, they're still competing for it both sides. It was brave by Petkovic. There's Armour. 39 minutes have elapsed in this second half. It's 2 each. 5-2 aggregate lead to Wollongong. Damien Mori drives toward the line, gets it back, too long. Harmless bounce. Arguably MVP, Alvin Ceccoli. Clears it Chipperfield swings it across the body. Surjan, and offside against Masai / Chipperfield. There's a Sela Masai. His 48th game tonight. The Ericsson Cup, the two clubs.
Yeah, they're still looking to get forward, but unfortunately the two Wollongong players had stepped just too quickly into the forward line and caught offside.
So Jack for Gibson. Horsley. He just plays so well week in, week out. You almost don't recognise his contribution as you might. Chipperfield. Perinich. Making a path away from the three defenders. Dimoski, Chipperfield, Perinich rather, Alvin Ceccoli. He's got the glint in his eye. No, hesitates, second time, bang! He really does think he can do anything tonight.
He tried from the centre circle, I think. Hey, great. Yeah, so he waited a long time to have a look and no option, so he thought, what the heck, I'll have a go anyway. And that wasn't too far away, but the interesting thing is this is probably the worst Adelaide City's going to finish in a long time, and the supporters at Adelaide City really don't accept anything less than really a top two with the past history. So the repercussions are going to be interesting over the next couple of weeks.
Yes. Thomas. A great stop from Brett Hughes again. He really doesn't have to extend himself at this point, but I suppose it's good practice.
You know what goalkeepers are like, they don't like any goals going in at any stage, but a good shot by Scotty Thomas here, and Brett Hughes was full length to keep that out, so he's obviously still got his concentration level up at and he's not going to relent at any stage.
Brooks corner deep, Tobin jumps for it. Souris, there's a cannon over his head. Dimoski for Matt Horsley. Into the final 5 minutes of this elimination final to complete week 2 of the Ericsson Cup playoff series. Chipperfield dances around Sabalyaka. Well, he saw that he got the angle right in the end, but the delivery was one house away.
Yeah, I'd almost say the Wolves are enjoying themselves here, just a little bit of a practice, and yeah, it would have been a great goal, but he just didn't quite get enough bend on it to get it around past Jason Petkovic in the Adelaide City goal.
Well, you did mention the pedigree of Adelaide City. They've not finished lower than 4th since 1989. So that will be, as you said, a huge disappointment to the Adelaide City supporters. But having said that, there is no doubt that there is a huge groundswell of support for Wollongong, whom so many people have been mentioning as their second favourite team, the team that they would like to see succeed in 97-98. Played ever so well, and Wollongong making a change now. There's the 19-year-old Sebastian Sinozic. A couple of terrific finals games from him. Well done, son. And Ray Eunice gets a look in. Just his second finals game. This is his 11th appearance of the season, his rookie year. All of them as a substitute. Ray Eunice, again, for him, his time will come. Brooks. So Wollongong 5-2 on aggregate. They will advance to the minor semi-final to meet Marconi Fairfield next weekend. And as I was saying just a few moments ago, a lot of impartial supporters, Ericsson Cup supporters, have or will be willing Wollongong on. I should think. New face in the finals against such calibre clubs as Adelaide City, who bow out tonight, Sydney United, who bowed out today, and Marconi, whom they face next weekend. Speculative by Surjan for Milan Ivanovic. So goes down the line for Damien Mori. Ray Eunice now got the job on the Frogger. Hassell, well, Wollongong intent on not allowing any soft goals to finish the game. It'll be a corner to Adelaide City. Angelo Costanzo across to take it. There's Ray Eunice, 22-year-old. Costanzo's corner. The tie is all but dead, but I think Sabliak wanted to grab another share of the headlines with another goal. Scored a spectacular goal to make it 2-2 here tonight, but as you can tell by the deafening silence of the Adelaide fans, the season, according to them, has come to a premature end. Costanzo floats it away. So the time ticks away into injury time. And Wollongong are one step further down the road to, well, is a grand final beyond this Wollongong club. In 1988, the Wolves finished as minor premiers, lost both their finals games and didn't even make it to the biggest day of the season. But maybe the momentum can carry them this year. Chipperfield. Masai's late runs too late. Petkovic for Brad Hassell. Goes against Horsley. Kicks it back for Damien Mori. Adelaide City. Mori against Eunice, and Ray Eunice would want to make an impression in front of Nick Theodorakopoulos. Eunice, Noel Spencer, Masai, and two others on the bench or for tonight. They're keeping their fingers crossed that they can get a run in this finals series for Wollongong City as the Wolves snowball their way deeper into the playoffs. Armour around the corner for Damien Mori again against Eunice. Brooks, Dudley Armour, can he make it 3-2? Oh, great pick-off again by Brett Hughes. And he just waited, Brett Hughes. And then he made his move like a viper. And in a trice, he'd snatched the ball out of the night air here at Hindmarsh. The scene of so many great Adelaide City triumphs, but now tonight the scene of one of Wollongong's greatest triumphs. Have no doubt about that. This is a terrific moment. The countdown continues with 3 minutes into time added on. Brooks. Away again by Stanton. Costanzo. Nick Sabliak. He will certainly be a player next year, you would think. Nicky Sabliak. And to the credit of the Adelaide City supporters, too many of them have vacated the stadium yet. Hopefully they'll stay on to applaud both clubs off the ground. They have turned on some absolutely magnificent games this year. Good turn by Hassell against Perinich. Brad Hassell. Thomas. Hassell continues the run, but that's just too long for Nick Sabliak. And that maybe symbolises the night for Adelaide City. Frustration. Brad Hassell, there on screen, comes back into the team. That's his 130th Ericsson Cup game and his 15th final. One of his least memorable, I should think. So the nail is inexorably hammered into Adelaide City's coffin as Match referee Eugene Brazzali brings down the final curtain on a dramatic 4-game series between the Wolves and Adelaide City, and there's a terrific show of spirit between the two clubs. Look at that terrific celebration for Adelaide City. I think they will be absolutely jubilant tonight. The final score in this second leg tie of the elimination final, Adelaide City 2, Wollongong 2, but the Wolves advance to a meeting with the monoliths from Marconi next weekend. In the minor semi-final, it is the elimination road all the way for the Wolves. Adelaide City going ahead on 16 minutes. Alvin Ceccoli pulling it back on 55. Costa Salapasidis with a beauty on 64 to make it 2-1. Nicky Sabeljak iced the game with another splendid strike. That's the way it ended, 2-2. Wollongong, well done to the Wolves. Let's go down to the ground with Robbie Wheatley.
Thank you very much, Greg Blake. Yes, we witnessed a fantastic second 45 minutes. And just a reminder that in the 4 meetings this year, 16 goals between these two sides. Could you expect anything different in that all-important second half? Wollongong's year continues. Adelaide City, though, time for them to reassess after a long season. And certainly that's something, Paul. The reassessment will be a pretty dramatic one here, as you well know.
It certainly will be. I mean, to come 5th or 6th the season for Adelaide City is really just not acceptable for this club. So I think there'll be a lot of soul searching and some big questions are going to have to be answered before the next season starts.
Well, for the visitors, though, Alvin Ceccoli really stunned and silenced the crowd here with that fantastic strike.
That's right. I mean, once that ball went in the back of the net, that was really the end of the game. I mean, it was just too big a mountain to climb after that, and probably one of the more softer chances that Adelaide City really had of repelling. So you just don't know in this game. But as I said, in 4 games at 16 goals, and as you can see, the ball's, I guess Jason may unsighted, but it's just bounced and gone underneath him, and from that moment on, the game as an actual tie was over from that point.
Well, Paul, you did know that Jason Petkovic did some superb saves prior to that, but then the Wolves really did come back into the driver's seat, and they were involved in some fabulous attacking forays.
That's right. The goal we're looking at now, really that just put the icing on the cake, and it's just a fantastic move by Costa. Turned, and the finish is world class. No, not a chance for Jason in goals there at all to stop.
Well, it nearly came out as quickly as it went into the goal, and I can tell you that celebrations will be strong and they'll be hard. If you're down there at Win Television, I can tell you, book your seats for next weekend, Saturday night, Parramatta Stadium. It will be a fantastic game. They are the details there, the 2nd of May. Saturday, kick-off at 7:30pm, and I can tell you the Wollongong Wolves youth team is also involved in their Northern Division Grand Final. A fantastic year, a fantastic game also for my guest here this evening, Alvin Ceccoli. Alvin, you let loose with that left foot, fantastic goal. It really did stop Adelaide City's revival.
Yeah, I guess our main game was to battle along, and that's what happened. I battled along and I got the ball, then I just had a bit of a stab and it went in. So that's what our main objective was.
I can tell you Nick wasn't too happy with some long-range shooting, but he silenced him also with that great goal.
Actually, part of our plan was to have a bit of long-range shooting because we thought Petkovic is a bit suspect on the long-range shot, so then that's what we did.
All right, Costa Salapasidis, though, really an outstanding strike for him that really settled the whole issue.
Yeah, definitely. He had a bit of a quieter game, and that's what strikers are for, just to be goal poachers, and that's what he exactly did.
Alvin, roll on Marconi?
Definitely, it's going to be a crack of a game.
All right, so boys will have to settle down, but you came here with such a strong position, but you fought back well after Adelaide City had a fine first 45 minutes.
Definitely. We knew they were going to come at us, so I don't know, I'm speechless. I'm just flabbergasted, really. It's a really great performance, and we had nothing to lose, and you can just tell by the way we're playing, so it's been going well.
Alvin, thanks for joining us tonight. See you next Saturday.
Thanks, Robbie.
Okay, Alvin Ceccoli, another fine game. Wollongong, though, overall really were good value for that result.
Well, that's right. They did. They held well, and again, once they got that goal, it was all over. But a great game, even if you take that into the perspective. 4 goals in this game, and as I said, the first by Costa was world class, and then Nicky Sabljac's volley. I mean, you'd pay a lot of money to go and see a goal like that anywhere. Yeah. So, fantastic game again.
Yeah, stunning goal from Nick Sabeljak, but it wasn't enough on the night. But let's have a look at some of the world-class coverage that's coming your way. Monday, we'll continue our look at the English Premier League, Derby against Leicester City, also Major League Soccer coming from the US. But Tuesday and Wednesday, well, there's continuing action, obviously, in the EPL, and we'll cover all those matches on ESPN early on Tuesday morning. Thursday, though, Dutch football, semi-final of the Amstel Cup, European Football Weekly, and we'll have a full review and wrap of all the weekend's action in kick-off at 10:30 p.m. on that particular night. Do hope you've enjoyed all our coverage. See you next Saturday. On behalf of the entire team, Robert Wheatley wishing you a very good night.
This has been a Sports Australia production.